You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. And it's brought to you by the candid sponsorship of Bank of Africa Strong. It's a group and close as a partner, MTN everywhere you go. At Chelsea University, educating ethical and entrepreneurial leaders for Africa. Robert & Sons Optical Services, your comprehensive eye care service provider for 31 years. Edlom Housing, where spacious homes cost less. DBS Industries, we truly are your root expert. CBG, we stand with you. Fabrimental, your partner in steel. Duraplast, where Duraplast goes, water flows. And Rehoboth Properties, quality housing for all. I have Kofi Bentel of Imani on Zoom. I also have Sam George, who is the Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram Pram, here in the studio. Now, joining us on Zoom again is Hassan Tampuli, who is the MP Gushon and Deputy Minister for Transport. Maybe he can help us understand what Mr. Kwakwa, the man in charge of the place, did not understand. He didn't know that he had been, dismissed at the time that he was dismissed. He was hearing it in the media. How did that happen? Hassan Tampuli, thank you for joining us. Please unmute your mic.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Good morning, Samson. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. So, first of all, what's going on? People are asking the question, what's going on at the airport, which your ministry has oversight over?
Thank you. So, as you rightly know, McDan Aviation applied to Ghana Airport Company to use their facility for the benefit of and use of McDan shipping. Now, along the line, McDan also developed interest in the aviation sector. So he requested to have what you call the FBO, fixed base operator, to operate a jet facility for the use of private jet operators. Now, he had to go through a certain process. Now, bear in mind that the airport company is not a licensing authority. So there's only one license for the Ghana Airport Company to operate Kotoka International Airports. And they have in turn concessionaire McDan Aviation to operate the facility. So it's still the same license. But Ghana Airport Company has an obligation to ensure that the terms and conditions under which they were granted a license by the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority would be met. In other words, they have to ensure that the safety and security considerations that are embedded in their license are fully met, notwithstanding the fact that McDan is not an employee, but rather a concessionaire. So they have a checklist that they go through with McDan, and they will ensure that everything that has to be done will be done in accordance with the regulations of the International Civil Aviation, ICAO regulations. So basically, that is what the whole situation is about. Of course, airport company would move in every now and again to inspect and to see whether the right thing is being done. They send their operators, they send their technical people, their engineers to check up the remolding of the place to see whether it's in accordance with the terms and conditions under which they operated. So basically, that is the background. Fast forward, McDan has put the place, into the shape that they deemed fit, of course, under the supervision of the Airport Company Limited. Then the airport company was invited to come and inspect the place and to also give McDan the permits and then parking slots for the visitors who will be attending the inauguration of the jet terminal. That was when airport company realized that a few things hadn't been done right. And so they went into the place and said, look, first of all, you are not allowed under the international best practices to park vehicles in front of a terminal the way that they did. So quite clearly, airport company was very clear in their view that whatever it is that McDan had put on paper, they probably have not imbibed it in terms of its operationalization. So then they sought to suspend the operation, the inauguration of the terminal until such a time that they are convinced that McDan Aviation has not only done what is supposed to be done on paper, but they have also imbibed and understood exactly what it means they have signed for on paper.
How does it happen?
Are you following the
Clearly, how does it happen
Very well.
that McDan was working with the Ghana Airport Company, and for all the time, they didn't see what they only saw at the inauguration? And he spent a long period, advertising and inviting the whole public and even beyond this country to this inauguration and subsequently to the operation. What happened?
Okay, so you lost me along the line, but if I understand you correctly, you want to know how come, if airport company was supervising their work, how come they sought to, at the last minute, stop the process? Is that correct?
That's right.
Very well. Okay, so the airport company received an invitation to participate or to attend the inauguration on the 28th, and the letter was sent to them on 27th. So officially, airport company was informed about the inauguration on the 27th for them to attend the following day, Friday, 28th. So that's when they went and realized that notwithstanding all that has been said on paper, it's difficult for them to allow them to operate or to inaugurate the place if they haven't done what is required of them. Now, the terminal has no problem. In terms of safety and security, they have a booth for the national security, for port health, for immigration, for customs, and for all the players who are supposed to be domiciled at the airports. So that has been sorted out. Every facility at the airport is in place. Now, what airport company sought to do was that in spite of all of these things that you have put in place, our understanding is that you haven't appreciated the commitment that you have put on paper because of what we have seen outside. Now, outside of the terminal building, you had cars parked almost every part in front of the terminal building. Now, that is not acceptable under the aviation regulations. So they realized at that point that no, if we sit down and allow these people to operate, we are going to have a bigger problem to deal with if this is how they are going to start. And that is the understanding that we got from the ministry. And so on the basis of that one, they had to put a stop to it until such a time that McDan Aviation has demonstrated, fully.
How does this lead to the termination of the appointment of Yao Kwakwa, the managing director?
Now, so with all this background, I find it very hard to believe that anybody would believe that Mr. Yao Kwakwa has been relieved of his position because he was doing the right thing. Now, the ministry stood behind Mr. Kwakwa, the former MD, and to ensure that the right thing is done. As a matter of fact, even McDan had to come and apologize to the minister for going ahead to do the inauguration, even though Ghana Airport Company had put a stop to it. So there's no basis for that, conclusion that Mr. Yao Kwakwa has been relieved of his position because of what happened at the airport. It's completely false.
Hold on for me. False. It's difficult for the public to believe that there's clearly no connection to this, and particularly the way he was removed at a time when he was leading members of parliament, to satisfy themselves of what had gone on. Then he's told by the media that he has been removed. Yes, Sam George.
Something. I've listened to my colleague Hassan speak on this matter, and he's giving all the background, so there's no need to go into the background.
That's right.
Let's ask ourselves, why was Mr. Kwakwa sacked? Did it have anything to do with the terminal or McDan, or did it have anything to do with other things? Look, Samson.
I think I've answered that. It has nothing
Samson.
to do with it.
Well, that's your claim.
So what do you do?
We hear a lot of things in this town. And it's important that we realize that at times, things may not appear as they seem until you dig below or beneath. As far as I'm aware, and I know that the committee, parliamentary committee, actually was with Hassan at the airport. They had invited the minister, and they had gone there to see everything that needs to be put in place in the terminal for its, in terms of security, what they call the SOPs, have been met. Now, someone will ask that, is this a power tussle between business interests? Is that why Kwakwa has become the pawn in a battle between two elephants? Because look, Honorable Hassan Dampuli, people who are in the aviation space know that today, private jets are landing in Ghana's airports. They are being serviced not through the regular Terminal 3 that me and you use. They are being serviced through CIP. Does this Terminal 1 pose an existential business threat to CIP? And who are the individuals behind CIP? And is it a tussle between McDan and the beneficial owners of the CIP that has led to Mr. Kwakwa being the sacrificial lamb? These are the questions you need to be frankly answering to the Ghanaian people and letting us know. Because look, one day, the truth will be known publicly. But I'm saying to you that the business interests behind the CIP at Terminal 3, which is currently servicing the private jet industry, and the emerging McDan private jet lounge at Terminal 1, Mr. Kwakwa is the unfortunate victim of power play between two elephants. And let's call a spade in this country. If we want to be honest with each other, there's no need to beat around the bush. I can appreciate your difficulty with being able to state clearly, because the termination letter said it was on the instructions of the president. Now we are hearing roundabout that, oh, the president has not terminated. The president has asked the board to consider the termination as a shareholder. Was that the content of the letter? Was that what the letter said? This post facto rationalization and realizing that people who may have had interest have used the name of the president or used the president's office to act in ways that may not even sit with good corporate governance. And now they are rerouting it through the board. I mean, it's all make it's not neat. You wanted to get rid of somebody, you should have done it in a tidier manner. Simple.
Kofi, your colleague and good friend, Bright Simmons, had asked a question. Is it a bold business enterprise or state capture? What do you think will lead to such a contemplation?
Pride spoke the mind of all discerning people. And the question is, we know McDan. I know of McDan. And let me be clear. McDan is one of the emerging, or one of the indigenous businessmen who has emerged as the strongest and somebody we are all proud of, we would want to grow. But I can tell you that I have had people come to me and report McDan on certain attitudes and certain actions he's taking, which people felt were a bit untoward, and they felt that he had some powers and some people behind him and so this and that. We didn't take any action. In fact, we can't take any action on that. We keep those things in our mind. But the point is this: we respect that McDan is an emerging or has emerged as a strong business person. And to that effect, therefore, there will be these kinds of boundary issues where people rub against each other. Some will hate him, some will love him. But the first thing is that it is a good thing that we get people like McDan, indigenous businessmen, rise up and take advantage of the opportunities within this country. Now, is it therefore bold business on his side? Yes, it is. And will there be friction? Yes, there will be. But that is why you have governments and authorities and regulators. In this particular McDan issue, there's a lot of detail. I have seen a lot of documentation. And let me sum it up this way. Maybe we'll get time to speak about the other details. It was the job of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, which has to make sure that Kotoka International Airport is properly internationally rated. It was their job to make sure that the Ghana Airport Company does not go into arrangements that compromise the airport. All right, that's number one. Now, clearly, the Civil Aviation Authority has not been able to do that. The Ghana Airports Company having the right to manage persons like McDan, who also have the right to do business in their own country and to prosper thereof, clearly lost track. And let me explain. McDan cannot get up as a businessman and go and start construction at an airport that is internationally rated. He's a businessman. He doesn't have time. He wants his things to be done quickly. I would totally give him a lot of room for that. It is for airport company to keep track of his activities. I have seen documents, Gantt charts about dates and times, list of people who will access places, what will be done, etc. It is the Ghana Airport Company that should have done that under the supervision of Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. If they didn't do it and McDan proceeded, I will not fault McDan. So it is bold business, but bold business everywhere, like mining, wherever you find it. Even Amazon now is having problems distributing, things. They will come into conflict with governments and regulation, but that is why the law is behind the regulator. In this particular case, the regulators failed. Ghana Airport Company failed. Ghana Civil Aviation failed, to the extent that we are hearing that it is when he said he was going to inaugurate that they found out that certain things were untoward. Means all the senior executives that should be let go of their duties, because they basically get a situation where somebody pursuing his legitimate business and seeking to respect the law. I have seen the effort he made to respect the law, was able to go ahead and breach the security of the Kotoka International Airport. You shouldn't keep a job if you are doing that, because if Kotoka is downgraded, more people will lose their jobs. If somebody sneaks in and plants a bomb on some plane because of some construction that was going on, the whole Ghana will gain international reputation for the wrong reasons. So in short, McDan is doing his legitimate business. I have seen evidence that he's made the effort to comply. I don't see how he would have forced this way and disrespected everybody and the authorities. I think this was a failure of the government system, specifically Civil Aviation Authority and Airports Company, to properly monitor this arrangement. How difficult is it to monitor just one construction project going on? And by the way, this is a good project. I know there are other people there who are doing this business, and I know what Sam George is talking about. We all have the details. Competition is a good thing. So it comes back again to Civil Aviation Authority and Airports Company that they should foster that competition, not allow one player to have so much power as to do some of the things that we are hearing. We will discount the rumors, but the fundamental issue is that in this particular issue, it is Civil Aviation that lost track. It is Ghana Airports Company that failed. And I don't think McDan should be blamed. If he made a mistake, well, correct him, but let that business go on. We can't afford to be cutting our own entrepreneurs down every time.
Right. So Hassan, the letter from the Transport Minister clearly was directed to the board chairman of the Ghana Airport Company. And the instruction was that the president, let me just read it, it's really very short. It says, His Excellency, the President of the Republic, per letter number so and so, dated 31st January 2022, has directed that the appointment of Mr. Yao Kwakwa as Managing Director of the Ghana Airports Company Limited be terminated. In this regard, kindly take the necessary steps to give effect to the directive. So it's very clear that the directive was to the board to terminate his appointment. The question that keeps coming up that the answers don't appear clear enough are when you say McDan breached some rules or anything, what were the exact, breaches that he committed?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me take you back to the letter you just read. And McDan raised, my brother Sam George raised issues about the content of the letter.
That's why I read it. That's why I read it.
Now, Samson, you are a lawyer. My good friend Kofi Bentil is a lawyer. what is wrong with that letter in terms of, distortion of any corporate arrangements. As the sole shareholder, government has directed that the board relieves the managing director of his position as the managing director. What is wrong with that one? Under the Companies Act, the board has the capacity to do that, to remove the MD as the managing director, not as a director. But there's a procedure you have to go through to remove a director. Now, if the director doesn't want to go through all that procedure, he or she can just simply resign and then forget about the whole process. Because inevitably, you will still get to the point where you'll be asked to move as a director. So as the managing director, the board has the capacity, as directed by the shareholder, to go through the process. So that issue regarding whether or not some corporate governance structures procedures have been sidestepped is neither here nor there.
Yes. So we have just some 2 minutes. Can you go straight to
Secondly, the issue regarding whether or not there is a tussle between CIP and McDan is also neither here nor there.
Okay.
The CIP is open to business class passengers, economy class passengers, first class passengers, jet operators, and any other person who is using the airport. It's your choice. You have to go and pay. And mind you, the CIP is under the auspices of the national security. All right. So anybody can go to the CIP.
It's owned by a private individual.
The jet, it is not owned by a private individual.
It's run
Point
by.
of correction.
Come on.
It is not owned by a private individual.
You want us to put out the names of those?
Show me any document that evidence.
You want us to put out the names of the people who have the beneficial interest?
It is not, you said
who runs it? Who is running it? Who is running it?
That is wrong.
Who is running CIP?
Now, McDan Jet Terminal
the office of the president.
For the use of jet operators.
Come on.
It's solely for the use of jet operators. So how is this, in a way, trying to monopolize the business? They are doing two separate businesses.
No.
You see what I mean? So nobody can, on the basis of the decision to terminate the MD's appointment, say that it is because of McDan. There's some power play. Power play between who and who. Now, if there was power play, then McDan's inauguration of the jet terminal wouldn't have been stopped. He would have been asked to just proceed just as if nothing has happened. No. Okay. But he was in breach of certain procedures. The ministry was in support. The entire government machinery was in support of the suspension of the operation of McDan terminal.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hassan. Thank you very much, Hassan Tampuli. This all time will allow us. My guests have been Hassan Tampuli. Hassan Suleiman Tampuli is MP Gushon and Deputy Minister for Transport. Samuel Nete George is MP Ningo Pram constituency, and Kofi Bentel is lawyer and Senior Vice President Imani Africa. Dr. Bright Opong Afum is lecturer mining and environmental consultant, University of Mines and Technology. You heard Samuel Abujinapo, MP Damongo and Minister Lands and Natural Resources. Also, you heard from Gary Nimako Mafo, who is member Legal and Constitutional Committee of the New Patriotic Party. We also had DCOP Kwesi Ofori, who is the Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service on the coup matter. My outfit is by Habel Scooter. Habel Scooter, you can find them at Adringano Gate, East Legon, and the number to call is 0200 84 1988. 0200 84 1988. I'm Samson Ladia Yanini. Have a good afternoon, and thank you all so very much for your company.